Welcome back to Peace, Love and Tarot. This reading is for Cancer, Sun, Moon or Rising. And Cancer, it's the first reading I'm bringing you for 2020. And this one is for the week of January the 6th to the 12th. So this week, Cancer, for the first reading that I'm bringing you for 2020, we have the beautiful Initiation Oracle card. We have the Magician, Six of Swords, Two of Pentacles, the Fool, the World, and the Moon. So we're definitely starting off the new year with a bang here, guys. We have 4 out of 6 major arcana, and we have some pretty powerful energies here, especially with the World and the Fool. We have big endings, big beginnings, and yeah, it's really significant. You know, the major arcana links to the big themes in life, life lessons, the karma, all that sort of thing. So yeah, I mean, I'm just seeing in that oracle card here, this is you walking out of 2019 like, I've had enough of that darkness, take me to the light. I'm on the Fool's journey now. We can see a transition here, and we can see a sense of indecision, maybe being a little bit stuck in that shadow energy in the end of 2019. But the energy has shifted, guys. I'm feeling it. We're in a different frequency now. We're in 5D consciousness, and this is only going to build over the next decade. And if you've been tuning into social media and seeing the posts of friends and family and other people you might follow about their decade, and in 2019 in particular, many people were talking about the tumultuous years they had, and just that feeling of just roller coaster emotions and all of that sort of thing. So some of us have still got some things to wrap up before we can get onto a new beginning, but we're kind of in that shift now, so it's actually a really beautiful energy. So I'm just going to read out that oracle card for you, Cancer, the Initiation. Rite of passage, crossing the threshold. Some of the most sacred initiation chambers and temples look scary from the outside, but are breathtakingly beautiful on the inside. This represents the journey that the soul pilgrim is required to take to reach somewhere sacred. But only the initiated can enter. Perhaps that's where you are right now. You're being tested, initiated, because you are headed somewhere sacred. Initiations require that we cross the threshold from one world or state of being to the next. We are called to face what scares us and have to be willing to lose it all in order to gain a new way of being, of safety, of security, of depth, of meaning. Yeah, so you're in the transitions zone, Cancer. You're really crossing that threshold from darker times into lighter times, but potentially new beginnings where, like that full energy, you may not quite know what's in store. You might not quite know where that sacred spot is, but we need to trust in the journey, because the journey is upon you. We've got huge completion with the world energy. There's not really any turning back for many of us, although of course you have free will, but I think that you'll be pulled in that direction. So I'm going to start in the recent past here with the Moon and the Two of Pentacles. So here I see the remnants of 2019. We see the indecision, the instability, maybe even insecurity, an unsteady footing, and the tumultuous emotions, that roller coaster, up and down, up and down. So some of you might have been in a situation where you just didn't feel steady, just didn't feel sure. You might have felt uneasy. Maybe there was that feeling in your gut that things just weren't quite right. Well, you are being asked to assess that situation and potentially move on and bring it to a completion this week. Or some of you might be in a big completion that has, been a phased approach, because with the world energy, sometimes it's not just a singular moment, but it can be a series of small events leading up to really being able to close out this chapter. With the Moon energy there, something could have come to light about a situation, be it a relationship or in the workplace. It's a general reading, so we won't get too specific with this one, but the Moon can illuminate things going on in the shadows. There could be things going on in the half-light. Maybe in a relationship you got to know somebody on a deeper level and weren't too sure about them. In the workplace, it can be a deception coming to light, a betrayal even. The Moon talks about things happening in the shadow side, or kind of behind the curtain, and it's when it's revealed that you're faced with the decision of whether to move on or stay in this situation. So I really feel that that is the what we're looking at here in the past. But with that Two of Pentacles, it can be hard to make that decision. It can really be a little bit, really pull the heartstrings and can make you feel unsteady. And being indecision is not really a very nice place to be in. So it really is time, Cancer, to make your decision. Stay or go. What are you going to do? Because that's the key to getting you back on your path. And we can see here with the full energy that there is a strongly illuminated path here ready for you to follow. You are being called to walk out of this darker path into the light, into the illumination that's going to steer you forward, somewhere that you can really see, somewhere where you can be fully embodied and whole as the magician, as the creator of your life. Because in the moon energy here, we see a fragmented self. We see the wild wolf and we see the tame dog. It's almost like, the two sides of yourself that maybe in the situation you could have felt, like one person in one situation with this person that's different from who you truly know you are. You might have felt like you couldn't be yourself. So it's time to bring those parts of yourself together, to get both feet back on the ground, to make a clear decision about the situation, and then to take the inspired action that you need to in order to move forward. Because I do see this energy here of moving on, Cancer. I mean, the Six of Swords is about making a necessary rite of passage to that sacred place that they talk about in the initiation. And that sacred place is a place where you're going to feel, peaceful, calm, at home in yourself, and maybe physically somewhere else as well. It's about leaving these choppy waters, that emotional roller coaster in the past. And yes, it's likely that it does come with a sense of sadness. These people here are looking like they're in a bit of a state of despair. Change is always difficult, and there's often, sadness and pain associated with it. But we have to think that, change comes in so that we can reach a better place than what we were in beforehand. So it's a necessary rite of passage. And if possible, we want to leave the swords on the shore, not carry the thoughts, the over-analytical energy. We want to not carry that baggage in the vessel so we can make a smooth rite of passage. So, this is the energy of leaving situations that are not serving you anymore in the past, leaving that decade behind and moving on into bigger, better times. Because we've got the World energy here, Cancer, which is the biggest card of endings and huge completion in the tarot deck. So the World, is a victory card. It says you've arrived, and it says that what the Magician, as the first card in the tarot deck, set out to manifest has, transpired. It has happened, and now it's time for new manifestations. So the World card, it talks about jumping through that Saturnian hoop into your next life lesson, into your next chapter, into your next decade, into 2020, with a different energy, with an empowered energy. Yeah, so the World, usually says that whatever the situation is, there's nothing more to be gained from it. There's no more lessons to be learned. It is finished, and we need to know when to leave things in the past so that we don't, get into that stuck energy, so we don't get into a holding pattern. We need to be like the dancer who just flows effortlessly from one chapter to the next through those sliding doors. And the key is, to really awaken to the fact that you are the Magician, Cancer. You are the creator of your own reality, or the co-creator with the universe. Because it's really a reminder that you have all the tools at your disposal, everything within you that you need in order to manifest or create the future that you desire. And it's through realizing that only you can change your situation, Cancer. Only you have the free will to do so, the free will to move on, to decide, to see truths. And when you realize that, that's when you unlock that infinite potential. And there's that saying with the Magician, as above, so below. So it really means that your external world is going to be an indication of your internal world. So by doing the work on yourself, by getting yourself in a place where you are more stable, happier, more peaceful and more calm, you're going to start attracting more of that into your external reality. So yeah, it's about awakening to that fact, knowing when a situation is done with the world energy, and that's when you can start to cross that threshold as the Fool. Because the Fool is ready to step beyond that cave. Even though he doesn't know what's out there, he can just see that it is illuminated by the sun. Why settle for the illumination of the dimly lit moon when we can have the divine guidance of the sun? Yeah, we don't know, what the destination is or where that road is leading, but we can see that it's brighter and that there's, happier times ahead. And the key is to listen to your intuition, because that will make sure that you have a steady footing and you don't, step over any metaphorical cliffs. But the Fool is, the fresh new beginning. It's reconnecting with your rebel heart. It's about following what makes your heart sing and what aligns with your highest purpose. And again, we have the reminder of just taking the necessary belongings, of not taking any baggage with us. Because that's where, we can truly transform ourselves and we can truly be open to what might come our way, the people we might meet on this journey, the opportunities we might be offered, and we can actually be open to receive those. I love the Fool. It's the best, the best beginning to 2020 is to start with the Fool energy, because this means that, it's time to leave the past in the past. It's time to trust the journey, take a leap of faith and leap beyond this dark cave, beyond these dark times. Let the towers fall that need to fall and walk towards the light, because you are being divinely guided. There's a lot of divine guidance in this reading, and you just need to trust and have faith and hope, and you'll be led to that destination, onto bigger and better things, Cancer, this year. So Cancer, that's the reading. I'm going to leave it there. Do keep in mind it's a general reading, so it won't be for every one of you guys. Feel free to leave me a comment. Always love to know how it's shaping up in your daily life, and I'll see you back here next week for another reading.